working with Get and Transform Power Query. In this case, we have data down here below. Notice it is revenue by region, product, and month. So we got location, product, and then for the revenue, it's actually got a separate column for each month. Which is problematic. We're in general, what we prefer to have and be better to have would be a single column for revenue and a single column for the month. So we'll make that happen with Get and Transform. So we're going to first, and over here we can see what we're going to come up with. So first, just select a value inside the data. Go to the ribbon, select data, Get and Transform over here on the left. In this case, it's from table range. This is if it's already within the existing workbook. All right, so from table range. Okay, that looks fine. So it's going to actually convert this into a table. All right. Now we're opening it up, and it's opening it up in Power Query, otherwise known as Get and Transform. All right, so this looks just like the data that we can move this. Okay. So we're going to unpivot these columns. So I'm going to select the location and the product together and just hold down the Shift key. All right. So I've got those two columns selected. Basically, I would select all the columns except for the ones that have the revenue each month. And we're going to do what's called unpivot these. So if we right click, okay, on one of these two columns we've got situated here, unpivot other columns, and this is also on the ribbon. I'm going to transform. Yeah, here's unpivot column, so we could do it here as well. All right, so unpivot other columns. So in other words, the columns that we don't have selected would be the quote-unquote other columns. All right, so what has it done? It's actually expanded each row by 8, because there were, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, there were 7 months. So there was just one column, or excuse me, one row with actual accessories. Now we have 7. And I'll just undo that so we can kind of see. All right, so that's what we've got to start with. Okay, notice there's actual accessories, just one row. It's going to expand it out to a row for each month. So again, select those two columns. I can either go up here and transform, or I can right click and unpivot other columns. All right, so that looks fine. We'll just change this to revenue. Okay, and this we'll need to change this to a date. It needs to be a month-end date, and currently it's recognized as text. It's ABC is text. And if I try to change this to date, notice it actually treats the year as a day of the month. All right, so let me undo that. And sometimes it's convenient to make a copy of this so we can kind of see what's going on. So I will make a copy of it. So I can right click and duplicate column. All right, we'll work with this one over here. So again, when I did try to change it to a date this way, notice it's treating everything as 2024, and these values over here in the copy as the day of the month, which is not correct. So we'll undo that. Go over here to the right and undo that. All right, so how can we proceed? We want to make these dates look like something that Excel would correctly evaluate. So we're going to use find and replace. So a couple of different places to do that. If you go on to home, there's replace values, and I can right click and replace values. All right, I've got this column selected. So I want to change this to something like October, pick a day of 2023. So to do that, data find would be the dash. And let's change that to a dash and pick a day. Let's say the 15th of the month. It needs to be just any, could be the 1st of the month, 15th, 10th, whatever. And then I'll add a 20 there. So that'll, again, make this look more like a date that Excel can easily recognize. All right. Now we'll try to change it to a date. And that appears to be working. We'll just eyeball it. Okay, that appears to be working. And I do want the end of month date. So I'll right click and transform. So month, and I want end of month, end of month. All right. And let's change that title or label to date. Okay, I want to go over here in terms of changing the name of the table within Power Query. Right now it's set to be Table 1. So we'll change that to TB Rev. TB Rev. I think that's what the instructions indicated. All right, so I think we're okay here. Revenue looks fine. Oh, I didn't rename. Oh, I just need to get rid of this. Hold on. I need to get rid of this. So that was the copied, just to compare. So I'll get rid of this. So we can go over here and hit Remove Column, or I can right click and remove. All right. So now we're ready to bring it back in. And we'll do this as a new worksheet. Close and load to. New worksheet. Hit OK. So it did bring it in as a new worksheet. Name that worksheet TB Rev. All right. And the name of that is TB Rev. Now I think in the directions I actually said it should be TB Revenue. So let's fix that right quick because I make a mistake. It's a good example of how to fix things. So we go over here, and if we hover, we can edit, or we can go here on the ribbon if you've got this activated query and select edit. That'll take us back into the Power Query window. All right, and we wanted to call that TB Revenue. Okay, and I can make any other changes I need to as well. All right, so now we'll just reload this, close and load. And let's make sure. All right, so now it is TB Revenue. The other part of this is going back here, and I'll close that, was to using revised data, compute revenue by region and month in the area to the right. And this is not part of Power Query, this work, but it's using the data that was output. So here we go. We'll do this right quick. So we'll do sum ifs. All right. Name of our table is TB Revenue. We're summing the revenue column. And we're going to do that for the location. Okay. And we'll select over here. I want to build a single formula right here. So this is kind of a little refresher on dynamic reporting. So that's in column N. So I'll lock down column N. And let's make sure that works okay, and then we'll work on the date. All right. Okay. So I should be able to copy that. Other places, I'll just do part of a few places here and make sure it's working okay. All right. Now let's go back and figure in the date. So I'll edit that. TB Rev date. Okay. And is it less than or equal to that date? We want to lock in the 6. All right. Make sure that works. Okay. That's going to be everything, before on or before October 31st. Let me just do a formula text here so we can see this a little easier. I'll pull that over here. All right. Now we need to continue editing this. I want to add TB revenue again. That is the date in particular. And now we'll cut it off, make sure it's just October. So we'll do, is it greater than EO month? Select that. We need to lock in that 6. It's always in column 6. And is it the month before, so -1. Okay, let's see what we got. All right, that looks like our check number works okay. So now I can just copy this. All right, I won't worry about the formatting, interest of time. And so we can see the formula up there. And it's copied elsewhere. Now notice I did do Control-C, Control-V. And now I want to, okay. And I'll just drag that over.